Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and in this video, I'm going to review Season 2, Episode 15 of Switched at Birth, Ecce Mono. This was quite possibly, and a lot of people are going to disagree with me over this, but this was quite possibly the best episode of Switched at Birth of all time so far. Because I think what was so great about it was that everyone who was in the acting department, everyone who, had to change up their personalities, which basically everybody did an amazing job with that. And everybody was fantastic in this episode. And I just love the way it all played out. It definitely did not disappoint, and I just love the way it all played out. I actually would have wanted to see more of this because it really was just that good. So yeah, basically this was the It's a Wonderful Life What If episode, and basically the whole thing is, what if Regina had told the hospital about the switch when she had discovered it, and when the kids were younger, basically. We see John and Catherine, but then when we see, basically with Catherine, the biggest thing with John and Catherine is that you see that things seem good, and so yeah, things seem good with them, but then you see little Bay and little Toby. And basically with the two of them, they basically are, well, yeah, so that's basically what's going on. We see the two of them, and then basically they get a call. And it's from the hospital. And unlike the first season, again, this is when they were like 3, basically, or toddlers even. So they get a call from the hospital, and the difference here is that when John and Catherine find out that, first thing is that they find out that Daphne is deaf, John's like, oh, we're going to do something about that right away. And, yeah. So that's pretty much the difference here, is that they're much more assertive and that they're much more willing to take charge of things. And they basically want custody of both girls because they don't want Daphne to live with Regina, because they find out that when she's, drunk and everything, and that she has all these DUIs, that this time they just want to get custody of both of them. And so that's basically the difference, and that's basically what would have happened. And so then we go back to, then we see the courtroom scene. And Regina ends up losing Daphne. And then we see her saying goodbye to Daphne and little Daphne. The thing was that the girl who played Daphne, I don't know all the names of the actors and actresses, I'm sorry, but the girl who plays Daphne, she basically said how the little girl was perfect casting, and she really was. I mean, that is just perfect casting right there, because that is exactly what Daphne should look like as a little girl. So, everyone who did that, you picked the perfect actress to play Daphne as a little girl, because she was really good. You can definitely see, though, that once Daphne comes to the Kenishes, she's very upset and she doesn't want this. Then we flash forward to the present, and Daphne is basically spoiled rotten. She's wearing like a Gossip Girl type of outfit. That's what the girl who played Daphne said. And I don't watch Gossip Girl, but I know the type of clothes that they wear in the show, so yeah. But we basically see her in a Gossip Girl type of outfit, and we see that they bought her a cochlear implant. And if you guys don't remember what that is, Travis had talked about how his father wanted him to, no, it was Emmett. Emmett was talking about how his father wanted him to get a cochlear implant last week. So, yeah, so now Daphne has a cochlear implant in this universe, basically, in this fantasy. And Catherine is writing books. And not just like the books she wrote. These are actual, like, soap opera-ish romance novels. So, that's basically what Catherine's doing. So, yeah. Then we see Bay, and Bay is very different. Bay is just drastically different. Bay basically, the difference with Bay is that 1, she has shorter hair, 2, she's getting straight A's. And also, we also saw Toby. I forgot to talk about that. But when we see Toby, we see that he has a different girlfriend, and we see that he's definitely very different. I mean, he's not very responsible like he is now. He's not very responsible. He's not in a rock band. He basically is just very rebellious. If you guys remember how Bay was very rebellious in season 1, that's nothing compared to Toby. Toby's very rebellious, and he's basically hanging out with some bad people, and we don't really know, they didn't really focus a lot on Toby, and I mean, that was okay, because Toby's not a huge character that they need to focus on, so I can see why they did that, and so yeah, we don't really know much about Toby. We just knew that he was hanging out with some people that he really shouldn't be hanging out with. That's all we know. But then we see how Daphne Daphne's friends with Simone. I forgot to talk about that. Then we go to the school scene, and Daphne is friends with Simone. If you remember Simone, that's the girl that cheated on that Emmett cheated on. Yeah, so that's who Simone is. If you guys remember, Simone and Emmett had sex in the real world. So yeah, so Simone and Daphne are best friends basically, and Bay basically does not feel happy in this universe. She feels like her parents are neglecting her and that they're focusing much more on Daphne, and she goes to her guidance counselor about it, and it's a very heartbreaking scene. And Vanessa Marino, yes, I know her name because I just know her name, her last name. She did a really good job in that scene. She was just really, really good. Then we go to, we see that Catherine and John are very upset about Daphne, and because Daphne had been basically purchasing all this stuff, and she basically bounced a check of $140, and they basically punish her by not going to a party. But then she kind of sucks up, and John sucks up to it. He's a pushover here. Not so much Catherine, but John's a pushover. And John basically says, all right, you can go. And he says, just return whatever, I forgot what it was. Return the shoes, I think it was shoes. So just return the shoes and we'll let you go. And basically, again, John is a pushover in this universe. Then she goes to the party, and we see that it's a very rebellious party. Not only is it a bad party, it's a fraternity party. And it's not really something Daphne should be doing again. Compared to Bay of first season, this is nothing compared to Bay. Bay only did graffiti things. Bay did not go to rebellious parties. But Daphne is going to rebellious parties, and yeah, that's basically what she's doing. And while they're there, Bay's kind of asking her, why is she, she's very miserable, and Daphne says oh no, I'm not miserable. And we see how Bay basically leaves the party because she just can't take it, and Daphne ends up hitting on this guy. And the only thing he wants to talk about with her are Ashton Kutcher movies. Basically, they're having a conversation, and this was really where he's like, do you remember The Butterfly Effect? Which, by the way, I got that movie from my library. We'll be reviewing that. And she says, oh yeah, that movie with Ashton Kutcher. And that was really weird, honestly. Why are you talking to her about movies? She's trying to have a conversation with you. Don't talk to her about movies, especially The Butterfly Effect. I mean, people remember that movie, but why Ashton Kutcher? I mean, really, just don't talk to her about movies. That's weird. Then we find out basically that, well, first we see our introduction to Emmett. And our introduction to Emmett is very interesting, because Bay basically meets Emmett, and neither Daphne or Bay know Emmett, and that was very different to see. And she meets Emmett, and basically they have a sudden connection. I really like that we got to see the Bay and Emmett friendship, because I really liked it when they were together. So, I mean, yeah, I liked them together, so I'm glad that they're showing more of that. Excuse me. But, then we see that basically Daphne has had sex with the guy at the party, and she's not happy. We see that she's not happy, and when she meets Emmett, she's very cold to him. She tries to isolate herself from all the deaf kids, and it's really sad. That is not what Daphne would be doing, and you're just not used to Daphne at this, and because of this, I mean, the girl who played Daphne is just amazing, because she went from playing this girl who is so sweet, and then this bitchy version of Daphne, and, I mean, combine both of them together, it's awesome. That girl's such a great actress, and, we basically see how she wants to, they both want to find out more about their mother, and, Bay sees with Emmett how they had hid, well, she goes to Toby, and Toby basically tells her how there were hidden files, and she goes to the hidden files into, her father's office, into John's office, and she sees that Regina had sent both Bay and Daphne a bunch of letters. So, Daphne and Bay go to, Regina's house, where they see, what's the name of her grandmother? Adriana. We see Adriana, and basically, we see that she, doesn't know either of them. She only knew Daphne when she was a baby, and we see that, Regina, though, she died. And I think Regina killed herself. They didn't really say, but she died, I think. And it's really sad, and basically, yeah, that's pretty much what happens. And when they tell John about it, John basically just freaks out about it. He says, "Did she come over here?" And once he finds out that she's dead, everybody turns their back on John, and that's basically what happens. Oh, I forgot to talk about the other thing with John. Catherine was sleeping with that coworker that was into her the last episode. She's now sleeping with him in this universe because she feels that her and John aren't working out, and they're really not working out in this universe. In the beginning, you think they are, but really they're not, and they do not have a good relationship at all. And yeah, so that's basically what's going on with Catherine, and John was very upset about this. And basically, then we see Bay and Emmett go off on a motorcycle, and we see Bay tell Emmett, "I want to go somewhere," and Emmett says, "Where?" And then she says, "I don't know, anywhere." And then we see Daphne wanting to uncover more about her mother, and then it ends with exactly how it ended last week, only this time John is drinking, he drops the beer bottle, and he dies. Because there's no one to save him, so he just dies. And then we see this is all a fantasy in John's mind, and that was fantastic. That was just fantastic the way they did that. Those transitions were amazing. Once I heard that microwave, I'm like, this is all in his head. You could tell, but you could just tell it was all in his head. But once you heard it, I was like, this is going to be awesome the way they do it. And it really was. He opens his eyes, there he sees Catherine, and he sees Regina, and that's basically how it ends, with us seeing him talking to them and feeling closer to them. Looks like next, and again, this was an amazing episode. Just everyone, I just have to do this. I have to give applause to everyone. I mean, they were just fantastic this episode. Just everybody gets applause. Everybody. You guys did such a great job with this. It was such a cool concept because we got to see them play such a different role, especially the girl who plays Daphne. She was fantastic. Katie Lee Clerk, that's her name, Katie Lee Clerk. She was definitely amazing in this episode. Vanessa Marina was also fantastic, you know, as Bay. Constance Marie was great for Regina, the brief bit of Regina. D.W. Moffat, though, as John, was also great. And, you know, everybody was great in the episodes. And really, it was really, really good, and I really did enjoy it. So it looks like next week things are going to get a little bit crazy. Basically, everybody's going to think about living life to the fullest, and Bay and Ty look like they're going to have sex, and, yeah, so just some crazy things are about to happen, but it was really an amazing episode. Love the episode, and I'll see you guys next video. Okay, bye. Oh, let me know what you guys think is going to happen now. What do you think is going to happen to John? I basically heard that John is basically going to change for the better. How do you think Regina's going to act now that John is going to be like an angel to her? What do you think is going to happen with Bay and Ty? Do you think that John is going to basically try to stop certain things that happened in this from happening? Do you think something like this what do you think? I mean, what do you guys think of the episode overall? I mean, I'm kind of speechless because it was just that good. That's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.